Last night, I heard a little boy beg his mom not to go into a liquor store. Reddit, what things have you overheard that have broken your heart? Some background: I live in Oklahoma, where the only place you can purchase alcohol besides Low Point beer is in a licensed, dedicated liquor store, which can only be open at certain times of day. Anyway, I'm heading to the one by my house to get a bottle of scotch. I'm walking in, when I hear a little boy crying, "Mommy, you can't go in there. You don't need liquor." His mom replies, "Yes, I do. Now shut up and wait in the car." I haven't really been able to think of much else since then. Reddit, what have you overheard that's weighed down your heart and mind since you've heard it? For more infotainment, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to get new video updates. Thanks for watching. I was at the local casino around 15 years ago and they were dragging a woman out for causing a disturbance. She was yelling, "He is spending our rent money." Apparently he was at the table and wouldn't stop playing and she was trying to interrupt it. Made me super sad. I think the real sadness here is that the manager would still allow someone to play after this. I don't know where this was, but in New Jersey, casinos are legally required to prevent a player from continuing if they become aware that the gambling is a problem. In this particular case it would seem unlikely that they could reasonably claim to be unaware. I overheard a maintenance worker in my apartment arguing with his drunk wife one night. Her son, his stepson, about 5 years old, yelled, "I hate you, you're not my dad." Pretty sure the guy started crying afterwards. He's such a nice guy too. Uneasy face, "My little brother is adopted. And we told him, so he knew." One teenage day, he was like, "I don't care, it's not like you're my real parents anyway." I think they were fighting because he was grounded and he wanted to go to a friend's party anyway. He never said it again and still feels guilty about it. My point being, even though he's 5, the kid probably will realize he overstepped a boundary, unless he's just a little. In line at Taco Bell, I was irritated at how long this woman and her kid were taking, until I found out what was going on. She was counting. The kid said, "It's okay mom, we don't need the food items," and I swear to God I thought I was on the set of a live Charles story. You could see they didn't have much, the mom looked malnourished, both skinny. I went up to the counter and said, "No, how much is it? It's a holiday gift from your neighbor," and the lady tried to refuse, but I said no, this wasn't some huge charity on my part, not trying to get karma for that, it was only like $3 or $4 more bucks. I paid the amount more that she needed and she thanked me. It didn't make me really feel much better. All I could think about what are they going to do for breakfast? Really puts your one's pettier problems into perspective. A friend of mine got drunk at a barbecue, kids and husband were there too. When it was explained to her that someone would drive her home, she went ballistic. I hurried her kids into my car, didn't have keys, just didn't want them to hear the cursing, ranting awfulness spewing from their mother. Her oldest son asked me what was wrong with her, and I explained Mommy just drank too much bad stuff and it has made her sick. She's just sick right now, but she will feel better later. He said, "Oh, she's drunk again." I felt so horrible. Her youngest was crying, and she kept asking me how much longer until Mommy feels better. I didn't know what to say. I hated everything about that night. This just brought back a terrible memory. My dad was a bad alcoholic, real bad. Needless to say, the weekends he came to pick us up were always interesting. This time he took us, 2 girls, about 7 and 10, to a barbecue in a park and got so drunk he fell, hit his head on the corner of a brick barbecue, and passed out. We knew no one there. They were probably all drunk. I remember thinking that he was gonna die. He got sober when I was 12 and died when I was 25. He was an awesome dad for those 13 years. When I found out I was going to be a father, I was 32 already. I smoked a ton, and I wasn't one of those self-hating "someday I'm gonna quit" smokers. I loved it. And I drank a fair amount as well. The day we found out we were expecting, I stopped smoking cold turkey and cut my drinking down to a beer or two per week, or less. It wasn't just that I didn't want my kids growing up around drinking and smoking like I did, it's that for the first time in my life I had a reason to stay healthy and think about the future. When my son is 30, I'll be 62. A sobering thought. I want to be alive and healthy then. Ninja Edit. I owe a great deal of the strength to pull that lifestyle change off to my wife, who is thoughtful, kind, patient, and doesn't take any of my star. Did you talk to your friend about this, or is that not practical? We did talk, but she is going through some serious stuff right now and is pushing everyone out of her life. Me, included. She apologized. What do you do? The kids stay primarily with their dad, so there is only some interaction with her like this. And I blamed myself for serving alcohol with her there. I just always expect adults to act like adults. When I know I've been drinking too much, I stop. And I let someone drive me home. It's just kinda common sense. My daughter is just over 1 year old and we send her to an in-home daycare during the week, while we're at work. There is another little girl in daycare with her who has a physical handicap having to do with her legs. Her parents drop her off with a wheelchair and leg braces for assisted walking. She's an adorable little girl, always happy, and during normal playtime hours at daycare she gets around by doing a mix of crawling and pulling herself around the room on the floor. One morning, a few weeks ago, I dropped my daughter off and I was talking to the woman who runs the daycare about how my daughter was starting to walk. The other little girl overheard me and she immediately turned and said, "No, I want Lily to stay on the floor with me." Broke my heart, sad face. Posted this before but I'll tell it again. I saw a little girl order something off a menu at a restaurant in Florida. When she was done ordering, her mom said, "You really messed up again. I trusted you this time. You wanna get that tummy tuck surgery when you're 20? What's the matter with you? Waiter. Give us a few more minutes." My daughter was confused. The little girl was not that overweight. Had to be around 10 years old. And was now crying hysterically. The mother kept yelling at her to stop embarrassing her and making a scene. I'm a dude, was about 22 at the time, and actually considered the consequences of smacking her in the face. Not exactly overheard, but last week I was chilling out at a buddy's house. At around midnight a bunch of cop cars and an ambulance show up to his neighbor's house. We notice the cops are talking to the little boy who lives there. We know the boy pretty well, he is a good friend of my buddy's son. We're going to call him Martin and he is about 7. After the police leave, Martin is sitting outside and we call him over to see if everything is okay. Martin's grandpa lives with him, so we assumed something happened with him, because of the ambulance. But, as soon as we say, "Hey Martin, what was going on there?" he instantly yells, "Nobody hit me. My daddy doesn't hit me." It made us so sad. That's really sad. I used to do social work with kids that have been abused and neglected. Parents will threaten their kids, they tell them people will take them away to a bad place / a stranger's house if they tell anybody about being hit / beaten. They warn them not to talk to anyone about it, including teachers and child protective services. Very sad. I don't know about immediately heartbreaking, but a woman came into the pawn shop where I work. She was a regular for around 3 years. She hadn't been back in a few weeks, so I was surprised when I saw her, but she needed a very large loan. Turns out she had hired a babysitter so that she could go downtown with her friends, and she didn't trust the sitter, so she took the cash that she had in her drawer for rent / bills / food for her 2 small children in case the sitter went looking through her stuff. At first I thought it was a silly thing to do, let alone having that much cash on you, but I'm used to these people not having bank accounts. Turns out it was an excuse. She took the money downtown and gambled away every last cent on VLT machines. She laughed about it. I told her that it was very serious, and she laughed it off and said, "Yeah, it's kind of an addiction, but what are you going to do?" The worst part was when she tried to tell me that I was responsible for her children's empty stomachs when I wouldn't give her the loan amount she wanted. I see this kind of stuff so often, my job depresses me so much. TLDR, woman has gambling addiction, spends rent/food/bill money on slot machines. Does not see anything wrong with it.